Good morning, everyone. I'm Dee. I'll guide your practice today in a class called Yoga and How to Modify It. So most of our poses at the beginning here will be seated. There's no reason why you can't sit in a chair, sit up on a bed. It's probably best for the surface to be level instead of something grooved. You want to be able to press your sits bones into the floor or chair seat, using that opposing force to sit up straight and tall, shoulders back and down. And we'll start from our seat here, legs in whatever comfortable position. Let's begin by closing our eyes gently. And let's take a moment to feel ourselves relaxing and settling on the mat, maybe adjusting things as we settle into a chair, possibly. And now tune into your breath. Connect with your breathing using your mind's eye. Now see if you can begin to lengthen the breath. Perhaps doing this slowly and just letting whatever happens happen. You want to stay comfortable as you breathe. You don't want to feel like you're fighting for air, not getting enough. And as you work to lengthen the breath, notice the expansion of the rib cage with each inhale and the relaxation of the rib cage at the end of the exhale. Today, as our pranayama, let's practice belly breathing. We do this type of breath a lot. I usually rotate between belly breathing, ujjayi breath, and box breathing. So on your next breath in, let's inhale, bringing that breath all the way to the navel. Feel your belly soften as the navel lifts away from the spine. As you exhale and feel the breath leaving the body, feel the abdomen tightening up. And then softening once again as the next inhale continues. Keep taking these drawn out, more forceful breaths using the diaphragm. Feeling your body relaxing. Feel your nervous system calming. And we can even add a mantra, something that we say over and over to ourselves inside our minds only. As we breathe in, we can say breathing in. And as we breathe out, we can say breathing out. Taking the entire length of each inhale to say breathing in, and the entire length of the exhale to say breathing out. Now let's go ahead and set that breath aside. We'll stop controlling, directing the breath to the belly, letting our body take over our autonomic nervous system, taking over. Though we will still stay attached to our breath, and especially in certain flows, you might have periods of time in your practice where you won't focus on it. Maybe you're moving at the time in a way that takes your focus away. Maybe you'll come right back to the breath, or it'll more easily come to you during certain times of your practice. Let's flutter open our eyes slowly first, beginning with just this small movement, focusing the eyes. Good. Now let's begin to wiggle the fingers. Maybe move the hands open and close, move the wrists, move the arms. And we'll start with our toes too, perhaps changing our position, letting the feet move with ankle pumps, pointing and flexing. You can windshield wiper if that feels good as an initial movement. Maybe do some circles here. Sitting up nice and tall, however your legs are comfortable. Let's release our arms by our side and let's take a few sun breaths. Let's do 3 or 4 at your own pace. So we'll inhale, lifting the arms either out and up or forward and up. Exhaling, lowering the arms, palms down, or on the next exhale, you can always bring your palms together, bring your hands to your heart, and then release at the very end of the exhale. Your arms come back down by your sides. Whichever way you're choosing to lift the arms and stretch the upper body, however high your arms can lift, you're doing the same type of movement, getting the same benefit. Let's move into a morning greeting on our next inhale, sun breath. The arms come out and up overhead, palms come together, and as we exhale, hands come down to the heart, elbows out to the side. We'll inhale, pausing movement. Exhale, we kind of lift the hands up and out. So we're pointing the fingers away from us slowly towards the front. Good. Now we'll inhale, drawing the arms out. We'll arch the spine in cow. Exhale, start to tuck your chin as it slowly lowers. Hands come together, shoulder height. Inhale, back to Anjali Mudra. Exhale, releases your arms by your side. Let's do that 3 more times, inhaling the arms out and up. Exhale to the heart. Inhale. Exhale, fingers slowly point forward. Arms extend. Inhale to cow. Opening the chest. Exhale to cat, rounding the shoulders. Inhale to Anjali Mudra, hands at heart. Exhale, release. You can move at your own pace if you'd like. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to the heart. Inhale. Exhale, hands come forward. Gaze forward. Inhale, open the chest. Arch the back. Exhale, drop the chin, round the shoulders. Inhale, gaze forward, hands at heart. Exhale, releases the arms. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's bring our hands to our lap. We're going to move our shoulders, isolating them, moving the shoulders forward and then back. I kind of exaggerated my arms there so you'd see. So we'll keep our hands on our lap, moving the shoulders forward and then back. Forward and then back. Now turn these into more of a cat and cow. Shoulders forward, maybe drop your chest, round your spine and shoulders, and then come into cow. We can use our arms. We don't have to, though. Think of still drawing your shoulders forward and back, but now we're adding the spine and the head, neck, and throat to the movement. Let's bring our spine now to parallel, gaze forward. We're still isolating the shoulders, getting those moving. We're going to shrug, lifting the shoulders up and then down. Both shoulders come up, then both shoulders release away from your ears. Shoulders up, shoulders released. Shoulders up, shoulders released. Sitting up still nice and tall, sits bones pressing into your floor or your chair seat. Let's come into a gentle twist. We'll turn one direction, one shoulder comes forward, and we'll orient the chest perhaps right above that opposite thigh. You can keep your hands on the ground to support you, support your upper body. You can move the hand in front to the knee, maybe move this shape from more of a gentle twist to a little more intense, not much, just a little. You can move your chin to the back shoulder. Let's move our eyes. Keep your eyes in the middle, right behind you, and then look up, look back to middle, look down, look back to middle. Let's bring our eyes center first, then our chin center on the next exhale. Let your body come center, and we'll start on the other side. Chest just moves towards the opposite thigh. From before, one hand in front, one hand behind you, supporting yourself through your palms or the tips of your fingers. Maybe coming into a little bit of a deeper twist, moving the chin to the back shoulder, moving the eyes back behind you in the middle, looking up, back behind you, back to center, looking down, back behind you, back to center. The eyes can now go to neutral. The chin can release and go to neutral. And we'll come back into our forward-facing position. Let's change our leg shape into butterfly pose. We can keep our hands by our hips. We can engage with some blocks, helping our legs to feel a little more free to relax and release down and away from the center. I always find I can go a little deeper with my heels farther away from my hips. Relaxing the knees out and down. Trying to still stay seated tall, shoulders relaxed on the spine behind you or in the back. One more breath here. And now we'll shift the body. We can bring the knees back to center and the feet to the floor. We'll come onto our hands and knees from here in table. Set yourself up slowly and carefully with a lot of intention. And as you're ready, begin your cat-cows, rounding the spine, drawing the navel in and up, and then releasing the navel out and down, moving through the pelvis, the hips, the spine, the shoulders, the head. We'll come back to neutral. And from here, let's keep our right foot where it is. We'll lift our left foot up off the mat, so it's just hanging in the air. If this is too much pressure on your knee, you can keep your foot as low to the ground as you can and just move it slightly internally and then externally. So we'll lift that, keep that left foot lifted, and let's look over at our foot as we bring it to the right and then more to the left. We'll look that direction too. We're going to go back and forth slowly here, 2 to 3 times at your own pace. Both knees are still pressing into the floor, but one foot is lifted and is kind of swaying to an internal position and then an external position. As you're done, release that left foot back onto the floor. And next, we'll move to the right side. We'll do the same swaying back and forth with the head and the foot. And we're looking to find the heel, the toes, whatever you can see in your peripheral or direct vision as you kind of swing this foot to the left, going internally, and then to the right, going externally. Bring that right foot, back to neutral and let it rest on the floor. From here, let's release our left foot long back on the mat, coming into sunbird. Let's bring this knee in towards the chest, right at the center. So as you're ready, lift the left foot and draw the knee towards the nose. As you're ready to exhale, extend that leg long, bringing the toes back down on the floor, back behind the body. And go ahead and keep breathing with this movement, tucking the knee towards the nose and then extending that leg long. Let's now bring the left knee back to its place and we'll switch sides. Let's extend the right leg long, toes curled under, lengthening this leg as much as possible first, and then drawing the knee in, tucking knee to nose before extending again. Exhale, drawing knee to nose. Inhale to find that length on the right side, lower body. Taking 3 to 5 breaths with that movement and then releasing the right knee to the floor. If you'd like to sink your hips down and back and come into a high kneel to get the pressure for a second off of your wrists, please go ahead and do so. And we'll come back to our table as you're ready. Starting on the left again, let's head into sunbird. So we'll reach that left foot and leg back behind us. We can stay here in extended cat. We can reach our right hand forward, keeping fingers and toes on the floor, or inhaling to lift the arm and leg any amount all the way up to parallel to the floor, even with the hip and shoulder. Breathing here normally, releasing if we see any type of increase in breath rate that's not comfortable. Releasing as you're ready, and let's let the hips sway left to right. Kind of releasing the built up tension in those hips. We'll come back to center. This time we step the right leg behind us, toes curled under. See if you can lengthen this leg by reaching those toes back just a little farther here in extended cat. You can keep both hands underneath you. You can reach your left fingers forward. Toes and fingers can stay on the floor, on the mat, or lift to parallel. Breathing normally, gaze right by the standing hand, maybe at the middle of the mat. And then releasing your sun breath, knee and hand come back down. And let's sink into child's pose here. Wide knee or not, big toes touching, upper body draping forward and down, arms in any position. On the next inhale, we'll lift back up. Walk the knees together if you widen them, get them back to hip distance apart. And now we're going to combine one more movement with our knee to chest and extended leg movement. So starting back on the left side, let's stretch that left leg long. Now let's bring the knee just to hovering first, right next to the right. And then tuck it in, knee to nose. We'll bring the knee hovering back down next to the right knee, and then we'll extend the leg again. Extended cat. So let's do that again. We'll bend through that left knee, bring it right alongside the right, holding up that right foot, using our core, then moving the knee towards the nose, placing the knee back in that hovering position, and then extending the leg back behind. Let's do that one more time, bending through the knee to hover, drawing it towards the nose, bringing the knee back to hovering, and then extending the left foot back behind the body. Good. Let's draw that left knee in and do that same four-part motion on the opposite side. 1, extending the right leg and toes back. 2, hovering the right knee next to the left, bending through that knee before drawing it up now towards the nose. Nose meets knee, knee meets nose, right? Come back to the hovering and then back to the extended leg back behind you. 2 more times. Hovering, knee to nose, hovering, extending, all while keeping your gaze in between both hands. Hovering, right knee to nose, hovering again, and then extending that leg back behind. Let's draw that right knee back up by the left and sink back and down into child's pose once again. If your hips don't want to move back towards your heels, puppy dog is a nice alternate to do, substitution to do. Take 2 more breaths here. Now on the next inhale, we'll come back up to our table. Walk our knees together if they were widened any. And let's switch positions. Let's bring the right foot forward. There's two ways of doing this. Modifying your yoga, you can walk your hands towards your knees, lift your upper body, and then bring the right foot forward. Or you can do something similar to nose to knee, drawing that right leg up and through. I have to kind of hop and lift my right hip, move the right side of my upper body to make way for this leg coming up and through. We're coming into a low lunge here. So we're going to sink our hips forward and down, making sure that this right knee is right on top of our heel. Before we do so, let's flatten that left foot and really try to sink the left thigh towards the floor here. If you have blocks nearby, it might be helpful to grab those and prop yourself up, giving just a little more space between your underarm and right side of the chest and this right forward leg. You can move the blocks to different heights, low, medium, and high, to help you be more comfortable or be more lifted, have a flatter back. We're going to keep lifting our upper body here. So if the blocks help you do that, go ahead and use them. We want to come to a place where we're either holding on to our blocks, have our hands on our thigh, or have the arms down by your sides, just kind of hanging there. From here, take an inhale. We'll lift the arms up and out, opening the chest, arching the back. From here, release your hands, let them come down to your sides, down to the block, or down to your forward thigh. We're going to plant the opposite hand, maybe on the block or maybe on the mat. And from here, we'll sweep the right arm out and up, coming into a lunge twist. Drawing the back of that right hand as far back behind you as you can, while still pressing into the left hand that's on the floor or a block. Exhale, release that right hand, and let's change sides. We can bring that right hand to the inside of the right foot, or we can keep it on the outside as we swoop the left hand out and up, drawing the back of the left hand up and back behind you. Releasing that hand. We'll let it float down. We can replace the right hand on the outside of the right foot. Press into your heel. Lift your toes off the mat as you straighten your knee, coming into a hamstring stretch. If it works for you to walk your blocks as you lift your shoulders so that they're underneath the shoulders, that will help you be in alignment. The upper body can still be kind of bent over the lower body, but the heel is grounded and the stretch in the hamstrings should feel comfortable, not uncomfortable. We'll move from here to child's pose again. See if you can lift your upper body high enough to draw that right foot in and back. We'll bring our big toes together, widen our knees, sink our hips and down and back, and release our upper body towards the floor, maybe towards a block. One under your chest, one under your forehead. Take a couple of breaths while you feel your spine releasing. On the next inhale, we'll move back up to table. Perhaps you'll use the same method to draw your left foot forward, coming into a low lunge. Left knee right on top of left heel. Upper body lifted as little or as much as is comfortable for you as you make yoga your own. We're releasing our hips forward and down, and we're feeling a stretch right at the top of the right thigh in the center, but also in the left hip. On the next inhale, let's get our upper body more vertical so that we can lift our arms if we'd like. You can keep your arms down in this pose, continuously supporting your upper body. You can lift one arm partially up, maybe both arms partially up. However you want to make this pose your own. Let the next exhale lower the hands and arms down. The upper body lowers here too. We'll first start with the opposite hand. So the right hand can be on a block or on the mat right under the right shoulder. We'll turn our chest towards our knee and we'll let the left arm first float with the hand out and up, reaching towards the sky, and then drawing the back of the hand behind us, opening the chest through the shoulder blade. Lifted arm. Exhaling, releasing that left hand. Now we'll plant the left hand next to the left foot, or perhaps on the inside. Sweeping the right arm as you're ready to inhale, out and up. Reaching the fingertips to the sky and the back of the hand behind you. Breathing here. And then letting the next exhale release that right hand. You can bring the left hand back to the outside of the left foot if you moved it. Here's where we press into our left heel. We lift the left toes, start to straighten the left knee. Feeling the stretch of the hamstring here. Maybe changing our position of our upper body, finding more lift here. Using the right knee and the left heel to find length through the crown of your head. Nice stretch in the hip here. And we can use this height to draw that left heel and knee on back and in, and we'll come into either child's pose or puppy dog again. Take 2 breaths here. On the next inhale, we'll come up to table. We're gonna try that same sequence. We'll move a little quicker and we'll add a step. So let's bring the right foot forward and let's sink our hips to the floor. Let the next inhale. It's still a low lunge, but pull your chest up away from your thigh. Inhale, lifting one or both arms. Exhale, release. Let your chest lower towards that leg. Swoop the right hand out and up. Lunge, twist. Exhale that right hand. Let it replace the left. And inhale, swooping the left arm out and up. Exhale, releasing the left hand. Center your body again. Press through the heel, lift the toes, straighten the knee. Now bend through the knee again, lower the toes, slowly back down to the mat. Curl under the left foot, lift the right knee, come into a high lunge. Upper body still low to the floor, using the floor as support. Exhale that left knee down. Draw the right foot and knee back under. Coming back to your table, and then sink back and down into child's pose once again. 2 breaths here. On the next inhale, come back up to your table. Draw the left foot forward. Come into a low lunge here. Sink your hips forward and down. Inhale, peeling your chest away from the thigh, perhaps lifting the arms up overhead. Exhale, release. Right hand plants, left hand swings out and up for a low lunge twist. Exhale, that left arm floats down, maybe replaces the right. Inhale, right arm lifts out and up. Back of the hand, helping to open the chest. Exhale, that right hand floats down, centering the chest over that left knee. Pressing into the heel, straightening the knee as you lift the toes. Hamstring stretch. Pressing the toes slowly back down into the floor, bending that knee. Tuck under the right toes, lift the right knee by pressing into that right foot, changing your low lunge to a high lunge. Float that right knee down. Low lunge once again. Flatten the foot and step the left knee and foot back underneath. We're going to come from this kind of slightly table, high kneeling pose to mountain, standing up. So however it's best for you to stand, do what's comfortable and what's in your everyday movement. Let's face the long edge of the mat with our feet hip distance apart, our arms down by our side. Find mountain pose. You can turn your wrists to point your palms forward or keep them in towards the middle, either way. Pressing all 4 corners of both feet into the floor. Let's inhale both arms out and up. We're going to sway to the left, bringing our palms together. Exhale, sway to the left. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to step the left foot out, away from the right, and come into 5-star. So hands come away from each other, arms come into a V. From here, turn your toes out diagonally. We'll bend our knees, lowering our hips. Start to bend your elbows, coming into goddess, palms facing forward. From goddess, we'll go to 5-star again. Exhaling, the arms come down by the side. We're going to turn the left foot 90 degrees, actually just 45 degrees because it was already diagonal. Point your toes to the short edge of the mat, and then bring your toes in the back, right foot, a little bit diagonal, so the heel's farther away from you than the toes. We're going to bend this front knee, coming into our hero 2 legs. Or warrior 2 legs, and we'll inhale the arms parallel to the ground or anywhere in between, being at our sides and being shoulder height. Feel the arms extending away from you as the fingertips try to press the wall in front and behind you. On the next exhale, let's let our upper body start to pull forward or reach forward. We'll bend this forward elbow, left arm comes down onto the left thigh, and inhale that right arm up towards the sky or right along your ear and the side of your head, coming into extended side angle. We're going to move from here to 5-star. So let's exhale that top arm down. Inhale, lifting the upper body away from that left knee by pressing into that leg, inhaling and lifting up. We'll now change the orientation of our feet so our heels are closer to us, closer to each other than our toes, and we'll come into 5-star again. From 5-star, we're going to bring ourselves to mountain by stepping the left foot back over to the right, finding our mountain. Left knee bends, the right leg becomes the standing foot. We'll find our stork pose first by toe tapping the left toes, kind of reach down to the floor and maybe come off the floor. You can keep your hands at your hips. This could be your stork pose. Toes just grazing the floor or maybe still touching to help you balance. But the muscles in this leg are keeping this leg light, right? Maybe you're lifting the foot, the left foot, lifting the arms into stork hands and arms. And then releasing that down. We'll keep that bend in that left knee. We'll move to tree by swinging the foot and the knee out to the left, 90 degrees. We can keep our feet apart. We can draw the left heel to the right leg somewhere other than the knee. And we can keep our hands low at the heart. We can grow our branches here in tree. Release your arm and leg very slowly from tree and then come into palm tree by lifting both heels as you come onto the toes, reaching the arms and hands up overhead. And let's walk towards one end of the mat, then towards the other end of the mat, then back to the middle of the mat. Place your feet flat on the floor. We'll bring our arms and hands down. Let's bend through the knees. I'm just going to turn so you can see this position. And we're coming into a pose called swimmer. It's kind of like arrow, but we have both feet in our mountain pose, standing pose shape. Knees are bent, hips are back like chair. Head is forward, arms extended right by your side and pointing towards the back of the mat. Press into the feet to come into mountain, straightening the knees, pulling the hips forward to stack all of the body underneath the head and shoulders. All right. Let's move on to the right side of that whole flow. And so this time we stand again in the middle of our mat in mountain pose. Hands comfortably at your sides, pressing into the feet evenly, right to left, front to back. Moving from here, we'll inhale the arms up overhead. Hands come together, palms press into each other. As we exhale, we sway to the right. Breathe here. And then inhale to come back straight up and down. Step the right foot away from the left and find your 5-star. Heels are a little bit in closer to the center of the body than the toes, and we'll move from 5-star to goddess, bending the knees, bending the elbows. Press through both feet as you inhale. Reach your hands and arms up overhead to come back into 5-star. Exhale the arms down by your sides. Think of your foot placement, your feet placement. We're going to turn that right foot so that it's the toes face the short edge of the mat. We're going to adjust that back foot so that the left toes are diagonal, not at 90 degrees. There's just a little bit, it's like 80 degrees. Feel the opening of the right knee kind of pointing towards those smaller toes, and inhale your arms to parallel as you're ready. One arm in front, one arm in back, fingertips reaching for opposing walls. Exhale, release that right elbow and forearm to the thigh and decide how you want to change or lift this left hand and arm. Long line of energy wherever you end up. From this extended side angle, we'll windmill the arms and come back into 5-star. Pressing into the heel, lifting the toes of the right side, kind of getting that left foot into its position as well, finding our 5-star. From here, we'll release the arms down by your sides. I was kind of doing goddess, sorry about that. Goddess with my legs and 5-star with my arms. So let's come into mountain. We'll step the right foot back to where the left foot is. Still using our right knee here, we'll bend, coming up onto the toes of the right foot. This makes the left leg our standing leg this time, and we'll toe touch before finding our balance. Perhaps we're using a chair or table or wall next to us to hold on to come into our stork. Pointing the right toes down towards the floor, lifting the arms, bending at the wrists, thumbs and fingers pointed down in stork. Releasing slowly arms and the knee and leg from stork. We'll come into tree, keeping this right knee bent. We'll move it out to the side. Perhaps your stance is wider to help you increase your stability. If you're feeling pretty good about your balance here, you can decrease the surface area your legs are covering. And perhaps bring right foot somewhere along the inner left leg, anywhere but the knee again. Drawing that right knee out to the side, perhaps lifting your tree branches as you reach your fingertips towards the sky. Let the next exhale slowly release you from tree. We'll bring this knee forward on the right side, replace that right foot, and we'll come onto our tiptoes, lifting our arms up overhead, coming into palm tree. Finding ourselves at one end of the mat, slowly tiptoeing to the opposite end, and then back to the middle before releasing heels, releasing arms, coming back to our mountain. Let's move from here. Let's get our hips on the floor. We're going to come down to the mat through boat. So sinking the hips to the floor, bending the knees, one hand in front, one hand behind. Press your feet into the floor, hip distance apart, and feel the sits bones pressing into the floor. Hold on to your legs for a moment and let your spine grow nice and tall. See if you can lengthen through the crown of your head to the ceiling. And let's tip forward, maybe even use our arms on our legs. I like to walk my hands and arms farther away from me. I'm trying to hook my knees as close to my underarms as I can, with my hands sort of stretching out over my feet or beyond. Then dip the chin towards the chest. Maybe widen your knees a little bit to fit your head and arms through. Feel the lengthening and the extension through the spine here, using the body to help us lengthen ourselves. Take one more breath here. And let the next inhale lift your chin back to neutral, lift your shoulders and head back to neutral so that you're sitting up straight and tall again, sits bones pressing into the floor. From here, hold on to the backs of the knees and let your head and shoulders go back behind you until you feel this little flat part of your hips. Then test to see, pressing into your left foot, can you lift your right foot? Maybe lift the heel parallel to the knee. Release the right foot. Try lifting the left foot. Release the left foot. This time, lift the right foot, press through the heel. If you'd like, change feet, or you can lift the left foot. Maybe let go of the backs of the legs here. Maybe bring your hands so that there's some forward, so that there's some forward energy happening. And what we'll do from here is slowly lower our head, neck, and chest towards the floor as we straighten our knees and also lower our legs. So it's a real abdomen workout here, slowing that descent until we're laying supine on the floor, where we'll begin our cool down. Let's bend our knees, bringing our feet up onto the floor. Let's press on the feet just enough to lift the hips, placing them back down just a few centimeters away or a few millimeters away from where they just were, lengthening the spine again. Then draw each knee into the chest one at a time or both together, and we'll wrap our arms around our legs. Let's stay here for a moment. Maybe we're using a strap to modify. You can place a heavy blanket on your shins. Maybe draw the blanket towards you. There's lots of ways to modify poses. The sacrum is on the floor here. We're not trying to lift the hips or pelvis up. We're trying to bring our knees to us, rounding out the spine a little bit, pressing it into the floor back behind you. Letting all those tissues that were tightened from our core work release somewhat. If you'd like, you can begin to rock from left to right. And we'll do one more bridge flow before student choice in our final Shavasana. So as you rock from left to right, feel this massage on the back of your head, along your spine. Let's come back to center and we'll let our feet float down to the mat, knees bent to the sky. Draw your arms and hands alongside the body as close as you can get it, palms facing down, head flat, nothing underneath the head but the mat from here. Now press on all four corners of your feet, the palms of your hands, perhaps even your forearms and elbows as you inhale and lift the hips up off the mat. As the hips lift, the spine lifts in one unit. And as we exhale, let's lower the hips and the spine's going to come along as one unit as well. We're keeping the back flat through this process. So inhale to lift the hips. And at the end of that inhale, as the breath reverses and you're breathing out, slowly lower the hips. You can take a breath in between. And as you're ready, lift the hips for the third time. Let's hold the hips here for a little bit. Maybe bring our arms to the backs of our legs or hips. Let the hands support ourselves. Get that stretch, pressing into the feet. Feel it in your glutes, in your quads. And exhale to release as you're ready. Spine and hips come down as one. We'll pull both knees into the chest one more time before going in from here to student choice. You can do happy baby, a yoga walk, any kind of stretch, windshield wipers, any kind of leg stretch, I meant, or arm stretch actually. You can do a full body stretch, a half body stretch. And then go ahead and settle into your mat. Find your final Shavasana shape, whatever works for your body, being as comfortable as it can be. Closing down the eyes, tucking the chin slightly. Begin to focus now on your breath. Letting the breath slowly lengthen. Keeping it comfortable so our nervous system slows and calms once again. If you'd like to use the mantra from the opening Shavasana, as you breathe in, say to yourself, breathing in. And as you exhale, say to yourself, breathing out. I find it works better if I slow the phrase down to the length of my breath in and my breath out. Taking 3 to 5 more breaths here. And now slowly begin to rock your head from left to right, letting the chin dip back and forth across the body. Let's bring the chin back to center and let's make our way over onto one side slowly and carefully, stacking hips and shoulders first, and then lifting up further, bringing ourselves back up into a comfortable seated position. Legs in whatever shape is comfortable for your body. Pressing both sits bones down into the mat, lifting up through the spine, stacking shoulders on top of hips. Let's let the next inhale lift the arms out and up or to the front and up. Palms come together. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Finding Anjali Mudra again. Closing down the eyes on the next exhale, let's sink our chins towards our chest as we bow to the divine within us. Let the next inhale lift your chin back to neutral. Thank you so much for joining me today in yoga and how to modify. See you next week. Take care.